What if the most powerful answer is silence? For years, fans around the world have been asking the same question. Why does Xiao Zhan never talk about Wang Yibo anymore? No reunion interviews, no open throwbacks, no direct comments about the Untamed partnership that changed both of their lives. Tonight on Star Watch Now, we are not here to create drama. We are here to explore a deeper possibility. That Xiao Zhan's silence about Wang Yibo might not be coldness, but one of the most respectful and protective choices he has ever made. Stay with me until the end because the real story behind this silence says as much about us as fans as it does about the two men at the center of it all. When Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo stepped into the Untamed, they were not just taking ordinary roles. They were stepping into a phenomenon that neither of them could fully predict. The drama did more than entertain. It carved out a new era of fandom culture, joining their names together in the minds of millions across continents. For many people, their partnership became a symbol of youth, passion, and the magic of storytelling. But every legend casts a long shadow. When a project becomes that influential, it refuses to end when the cameras stop rolling. The characters dissolve, but the expectations remain. Interviews, award shows, new dramas. Everything they do is quietly measured against that one moment in time. Over the years, what was once a beautiful memory has slowly turned into a constant backdrop that follows them everywhere. The world remembers them as a pair, even when their work demands that they stand alone. It is inside this tension, between what the audience still holds on to and what reality now requires, that Xiao Zhan's silence starts to make sense. Not as absence, but as a response to the enormous weight of a legend that never truly left. For Xiao Zhan, silence did not begin in a vacuum. It began after a storm. He has already experienced what it means to be at the center of an uncontrollable wave of public reaction. In that chapter of his life, he learned that, in his world, a single sentence is never just a sentence. It can be lifted out of context, magnified, twisted, and turned into a narrative he never intended to create. So when people ask, why does he not simply say something about Wang Yibo? The answer may lie in this painful experience. He understands the price of speaking too freely in an environment where every word is a potential trigger. Naming Wang Yibo, even in a warm or neutral way, could instantly reshape headlines, trends, and online arguments. In such a fragile ecosystem, even a casual remark risks reawakening old tensions, fueling new interpretations, or placing both of them back into a spotlight they may not have chosen. His restraint is not emptiness but calculation. It is the decision of someone who has already paid once for being misunderstood, and who now weighs every word with the full knowledge that one passing comment could change the direction of the conversation for months. We often treat silence as a withdrawal, as if not speaking means turning away. Yet in Xiao Zhan's case, silence can be read as a form of protection, a quiet choice made for more than one person. First, he protects himself. His career, his mental space, his right to move forward without constantly being pulled back into the same storyline. When he avoids commenting on Wang Yibo, he is, in many ways, defending his present from being swallowed by his past. But there is also another layer. Speaking about someone else in an industry as sensitive as his does not only affect the speaker, it affects the person being mentioned. Any reference to Wang Yibo could become the spark for new speculation that may not serve either of them. It could reunite them in the public imagination at a time when their professional strategies require distance and independence. By choosing not to add fuel to that fire, Xiao Zhan may be quietly honoring the work they both do now. His silence allows Wang Yibo to stand on his own terms, without constantly being framed as half of a former duo. It is possible that the most loyal thing he can do under these circumstances is not to speak at all. It is comforting to imagine that people who once walked side by side will continue in parallel forever. But the reality of their industry is far less romantic. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo may share a powerful past, yet their present is built on entirely separate foundations. Different teams, different contracts, different long-term goals. All of these quietly push their paths further apart. Xiao Zhan's choices reflect a certain artistic and branding direction, shaped by his personal experiences and the projects that resonate with him. Wang Yibo's choices reflect another: risk-taking, multi-sector careers, and a willingness to embrace environments beyond the familiar. The fact that they no longer appear together does not neutralize what once existed. It simply reveals how demanding their individual journeys have become. If they kept referring to one another openly, they might unintentionally anchor themselves in a moment that has already done its work. Constant public association could limit how casting directors, brands, and international partners view them. Their silence towards each other, then, is not a rejection of the past, but an acceptance that the future requires space. Two paths that once ran close have now diverged, not as an act of conflict, but as a necessity for growth. Beyond contracts and strategies lies a quieter question. What does it mean emotionally to live through something as intense as the Untamed together? Long filming days, relentless publicity, and the sudden surge of worldwide attention create a bond that is not easy to describe. These are experiences that exist in a private, unspoken language shared by very few. We are accustomed to believing that if something matters, it must be spoken about, posted, or performed. Yet some of the most precious memories in life resist that expectation. They feel too delicate to be laid out on a public table and dissected in slow motion by millions of eyes. Xiao Zhan's silence may be, in part, a kind of emotional guardianship. By not transforming those memories into interview content, he allows them to remain intact, untouched by commentary and analysis. They stay where they were born, in the quiet space between colleagues who went through something life-changing together. In a world where even private moments are often turned into material, choosing not to share can be a profoundly human act. It suggests that he still recognizes the value of keeping some parts of his story for himself, even when the world insists on being invited into every corner. Xiao Zhan's silence is not only a statement about his own boundaries, it is also an unspoken commentary on the culture surrounding him. We live in a time that rewards exposure. The more someone reveals, the more authentic we decide they are. Against this backdrop, his refusal to provide the answers people expect feels almost radical. Each time he declines to discuss Wang Yibo, he is, in effect, questioning our entitlement to every detail. His silence asks us to examine why we seek constant confirmation, why unfinished stories disturb us, and why we believe we deserve access to emotions that do not belong to us. It reminds us that admiration does not entitle us to ownership. In that sense, the discomfort his silence produces may say more about us than about him. It exposes how quickly curiosity can turn into pressure, and how easily affection can cross into demand. By holding his line, Xiao Zhan forces the audience to confront an uncomfortable truth: that true respect sometimes means accepting the existence of doors we are not meant to open, even when we care deeply about the people behind them.